Another question? Oh yes, I mean once the clones are rooted and big enough, that's another mother plant. You can do whatever you want with it. You can like.
Well, I'm working in aeroponics, so that's all I'm doing. My arrows.
Yes, well, let's say you have it in your aeroponic unit. You have good roots going down, and let's say it's like 12 inches high. Right there, you can clone it, keep that going, and make more clones next time, because each time it doubles out. Each time you take a clone, it doubles, it doubles, it doubles, until pretty soon you can get to a point where you can take at least 50 off of one plant. And if you have one plant, one mother plant in aeroponics, you can actually make it so good you could take more than 100 at once.
Yeah, I realize.
As long as the root system is big enough to hold that many bud sites, that many, clone sites, that many cutting sites.
So now if I'm taking my cuttings and going to my aeroponics system, how early on the cuttings can they start super cropping?
Super cropping. How
early?
About 10 days.
10 days later?
10 days, yeah. About 10 days they're tall enough and strong enough so they can handle that stress.
Thank you.
Another question?
How do you determine when to water?
Okay.
How often do you get food and how often is water?
Well, the leaves on a cannabis plant is kind of like a traffic light. When they got everything that they need, especially water, because that's the main ingredient, they're kind of holding themselves like my hand right now, just like high, and they're not crinkled up at all, and they're beautiful shine on them, and they got that perfect green color. They're not pale at all. When they look like that, your plant's feeling good. The minute that the leaves start to go down,
at all,
it is telling you, just like if it was a human being saying, I am thirsty. And, it's like, if you visit your plants a lot, the plants will always tell you, just by looking at them, if they need water. If you have plants in a pot...
My dad was the best teacher in the whole wide world. He's even a doctor because he fixed my arm.
But, where was I totally forgot what I was saying.
Watering.
Oh yeah, so it's like if you have plants in a pot, you can always lift up the pot. If the pot is light, it needs water. If the pot's heavy, it's fine. So pots, lifting pots. When I used to grow in pots, I was always lifting the pots before I watered to see, because some would need it, some wouldn't. Some dry out faster than others. Some have a bigger root system, even though they're in the same size pot, and they suck the water up faster than other ones. If you have a hot grow room, sometimes you have to water more often because you got evaporation besides the plant using it. If you grow hydro, then like aquaponics or like aqua farms, it's basically always getting water. It's never not getting water. But when you grow in soil, plants hate to be too wet. I don't care if it's a house plant or a cannabis plant. Plants do not like being over wet. It makes their roots rot. It makes their roots stunt. And if it stayed like that very long, the plant would be dead. So plants like to get water, and they like to get dried out. They like to get water, and they like to get carbon dioxide. They like to get water, and they like to get air. They don't just like water. They are not water plants. These are land plants, and so they only like as much water as they need. And then they really like to get those roots exposed to the carbon dioxide so that they can absorb some carbon dioxide also. And if they're drowning in water, there's no way for them to get that carbon dioxide. They get locked out and the plant just goes down quick. Another question?
Use chemicals?
I don't use chemicals. I've been growing for 40 years now. And no, I've been growing for 36 years. I've been smoking for 40 years. But in those 36 years, I started out with Miracle Grow, and I was using malathion for bugs, and not even wearing a mask. I said, you know, I didn't know back then, you know. It's like, and I was using colchicine to, you know, change the genetics, and even I was using gibberellic acid at one time to make female seeds. But I even stopped using that.
So how do you feed them?
I feed them with really nice food. One of my favorite brands of food is Advanced Nutrients out of Canada, and they have distributors in England and Europe, and those foods from Advanced Nutrients, especially the organic ones, I really like the results that I get with those foods.
Which one's your favorite?
My favorite one is the Super Tea, Guano Tea for bloom. It's kind of like bud swell, so you can use it in hydro or soil or cocoa, because it doesn't have any sediment. It doesn't have any sediment, so you can add it to any of those systems and it works, and it gives those plants the guano taste.
So you wash it out? How do you get rid of it? Will it have, you want that guano taste?
No, it would. No, the guano taste is not tasting like the guano. The guano is what makes mangoes and bananas and oranges and any fruit taste as good as it possibly can. If you put guano on any kind of fruit tree, that fruit is going to taste its optimum taste.
And how much guano do you put in?
Not too much, because guano can burn stuff too, so use it very sparingly, but use it regularly. And you use it especially with cannabis. You use it during certain times, during, let's say, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th week of flowering. In those 4 weeks of flowering, that's when the plant can really absorb the nutrients and the enhancement from the guano. That's from not spraying it, not spraying the leaves. That's from just putting it in the soil, either bottom feeding it or top feeding it. Now, I've been using this other system lately, this year, which are these boxes, these plastic boxes that a friend of mine makes in Holland. And they have about a 1.5 inch bottom that's empty. And then they have a plastic level that's on top of that layer of air. And there's slits in that plastic, but they're pretty small. What I do is I take about 75 liters of organic soil and I put it in one of those boxes. And then I put 6 plants in one of those boxes, and they're on wheels, so they're easy to move them around even though they have 75 liters of soil in them. On the side there's this pipe going down that has a little floater that goes into the bottom level. That's just an empty layer of air. That floater is on the side of it. That floater is sitting down there. Once you have the soil in and you've planted your plants, you look at how tall your plant is, and that's... Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Scott.
Doctor in the house.
No pictures of the
Microphone.
Talk into the microphone.
The microphone.
Right behind your little girl.
This little girl has one.
Could we have some medical help in the lounge, please? If we have a doctor or emergency technician available, please, to the lounge.
Sweetie. Oh, God. Oh.